welcome. It's another fantastic and lovely podcast from your friends at Radio 2, full of those awful confessions. You'd never believe it. Anyway, they all seek some kind of forgiveness from the Caring Collective, and this week's concise collection includes a cheating channel hopper, a pet owner perplexed by a pusillanimous patriarch, impressive, and a disappointingly dressed date dilemma. Here it all comes. Hello, Simon and the forgiving fellas and fillies.
Okay.
Forgive me, for I have sinned. It started about a month ago. Matt told me in one of his bulletins about other radio shows, and they were offering loads more sport than you have offered me. And my interest was piqued, and I nervously left you and went off with them. I know now I must have hurt you. You've always been there for me, and I guess I just didn't appreciate that at the time. So for that, I'm truly sorry. But please let me explain. When I started this dalliance with Tony Livesey, he promised me the world. Well, the Europe part of it anyway. He told me about this new competition format, how England looked so vibrant and attractive, how he would take me with him on a journey that would culminate in joyous rapture. He didn't mind, he said, about me going with Mark Pugach and Eleanor Oldroyd. I wasn't even put off when he mentioned there might be some special Robbie Savage time. This new relationship was so new and daring, the excitement was fresh and risque. Simon Brotherton even said he was happy for me to see Gary Lineker, as long as I listened to him while I was doing it.
Okay.
It was fantastic. There was fast-paced action, edge-of-the-seat moments. Even some hairy Vikings got involved. I was enraptured. But this honeymoon period couldn't go on forever. The attractiveness of England had been massively overplayed. They didn't bring to the relationship what they said they would, and the promised spectacular climax seemed a distant dream. They tried to keep me interested. They said they were sorry about England. They offered me Wales instead. I was tempted, but I'm just not into that kind of thing.
Okay.
It wasn't what I was looking for. Apparently Wales went on to give people a happy ending, but sadly a little too premature. I hope you understand my feelings at this point. I'd moved away from you on the basis of false promises. I'm sure I'm not the first. I think I heard 52% of the people will sometimes do that given the opportunity. Anyway, I felt embarrassed, too guilty to come back, even though that I knew that I should, says Trev. It was then, is a classic line. I see this on a daily basis in so many confessions. It was then that John Inverdale got involved. He always gets involved. He said he had what I was looking for. He said there would be love, new balls and strong backhands. I'm sorry, Simon, I strayed again. Hazel Irving said she talked to me about the Great British Hope. This time it was for real. This time Britain wouldn't let me down. She told me how Scotland wanted Britain to do well, how Britain wanted Scotland to do well, that we were all in this together. And we could all get the heavenly denouement we deserved. We could all come on, Andy, together. And when it got complicated, John McEnroe talked me through the tricky bits, the finer points. It all felt so familiar. And now with his exotic foreign twang, it felt adventurous too. Wonderfully, they were right. Britain and Scotland were as good as they said they'd be, and they kept their promise. Are you listening, Livesey? Yeah. It finished with us all happy but exhausted. Britain and Scotland managing to come first. Twice. I never thought I'd see the day. But then they left me, Simon, all of them. Livesey, Inverdale, Irving, even Savage. I don't know what I did, why I meant nothing. Maybe I was just some summer thing to them. Maybe they're just players. I bet they do this every summer. I guess I'm just another notch on Mark Chapman's mic stand. I feel used, unwanted, cast aside after I'd given my all to be with them. So I prostrate myself at you're on the collective's feet and beg forgiveness. I know I've been a fool and you've always been there for me in the wind and rain, summer and winter. I just want to tell you I'm sorry and hope you can take me back. I understand things might be different to start with, but I can change, Simon. I know I can. I just need you to give me that chance. I know Matt can provide me with all the support I need. I should have stuck with his small but perfectly formed bits in your show. I get that Bobby looks out for the travellers, even though she's never mentioned my roads yet. I know she does it with a beautiful heart, and one day I'll be glad she stuck with me as I skillfully navigate her curves in the road. and her
How does he know?
And her spectacular junctions off the A46.
Please.
I hope my honesty portrays my sincerity. I mean it this time, Simon. Thank you for being with me. I care for you all deeply. Please let me come back. Yours remorsefully, Trevor. P.S. In the interest of full disclosure, Claire Balding has started telling me the things that she wants to show me in August. I'm trying to be strong, but surely no one says no to Balding, right? It's a shocking story, really. A tale of indiscretion. I told you knew most of the people involved. And I successfully skirted over the problem area and no one noticed, which is very good. So, Sister Bobby, what do you mean? And you're actually mentioned in here, which is great. It's not just... it's very, very nice references, actually, I think. Anyway, what do you say to Trev?
Trev? Fantastic. What a fantastic confession. Of course you can come back. There's always a BBC for everyone, so if you do wander off, it's all right. We're open and we're happy to have you back at any time.
If you've got a confession that involves the line, it was then that John Inverdale got involved, that'd be very good.
Then we can't read it out.
Then we can't, probably can't read it out. Maybe you've got some special Robbie Savage time.
Oh,
Ada.
That's a thought.
Yeah. Could do without that, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, Brother Matthew, what are you saying?
I'm going to say, I mean, that was obviously inspired and double entendre-tastic, and I love all of that. But, you know, we can have, to paraphrase what Gennaro was saying, we can have green pepper and celery. We can have mushrooms and bacon. So, you know, we can have all of that. You can have all of those things. What are you talking about? So why not try a bit of this and a bit of that? And then come back to us, and then you can always drift away in August.
Just stay here.
And then, well, we're away, so you know, and then come back in September when all of those
or just stay listening to Radio 2
have been endured.
You can't trust Claire Balding. I mean, Claire Balding, obviously on Radio 2 when she's being Good Morning Sunday.
Oh yes,
you can trust her.
Yes,
but elsewhere you're never quite sure whether she's going to deliver.
I choose to disagree. She will definitely be delivering in Rio. So Trevor, in summary, you are welcome in whichever part of the Rheithian organisation you choose to deposit yourself.
And so therefore,
forgiven.
Simon and the Confessional Collective. I am a canine psychologist.
Wow.
I could do with one of those.
Could you? Mm-hmm. What would you ask a canine psychologist?
I've got a dog with anxiety issues and hates the car.
Don't take it to the car.
I have to.
Okay. Just that I'd help. Anyway, Joe is the canine psychologist and has been doing some research and has remembered this story for our confessional collection. Father Simon, one afternoon my pet rabbit, called Toshka, or Tosh as he was more commonly called, was in the garage running around where I used to allow him to play freely in an attempt to keep his nails short. I noticed something on his underbelly which alarmed me a little, so I called my dad over to come and examine the problem. After careful consideration, my dad sat me down and said that it looked very much as though Tosh had a nasty growth on his stomach and that it would need to be seen by a vet. In addition, he generally explained to me that it was possible that the vet would say that there was nothing he could do for Tosh and he may have to be put to sleep. This thought horrified me and I held my bunny closely as I contemplated taking him to the vets. So it was that my best friend and I, aged I guess around 11 years old, headed to the vets with poor Tosh in tow. It's the summer of 1976, ironically. The hottest on record for many, many years, and perhaps it even still is, and maybe the longest drought. Who knows, about 3 weeks without rain. My dad had to go to work, and my mum had neither a car nor a driving licence, so the only affordable way to get to the vets was on the bus. All the while, poor Tosh was sweating away in a huge shopping bag. The bag did have a solid square base, but he was very hot inside the makeshift carry case. Eventually, we arrived at our destination and explained to the receptionist that we feared that my lovely pet rabbit had a growth. She directed us to a treatment room, and inside was a stern-looking vet and his kindly nurse. Peering into the shopping bag, the vet asked me what the problem was. What's the problem? And I explained that I had noticed this thing on his stomach, and my dad had suggested that it may be a growth. Mustering all the courage I could find whilst shuffling on the spot to take my mind off what was coming from between my quivering lips, which I now bit down on harshly to hold back any tears, I went on to say that I understood it might be serious, and my dad had said that if it was cancerous, I was to let the vet put my beloved friend to sleep. The vet and his nurse took the shopping bag from me, and as the lady held the bag open, the vet gently pulled Tosh from what, looking back, must have felt like a bit of a mobile sauna. Anyway, he placed my darling pet on the surgery table and asked me to show him the growth. I gently prodded at Tosh's fur, peered at his underbelly until I spotted the thing that was causing me all the trouble. The conversation went like this. I can recall every single excruciating second of it. "There," I said. "That's it." "Where?" said the vet. "There, look, there," I replied. "He's a boy," said the vet. "Yes, I know he's a boy," I said, feeling increasingly anxious. And of course the vet said, "Yeah, but that's why he's a boy." Cue the hasty departure of two very embarrassed young ladies, leaving behind a highly amused vet and a nurse who was almost on the floor with laughter. "Oh, it's a boy." After relaying the story to my mam, interspersed with fits of the giggles, she told me she would speak to my dad when he got in from work, but I should be around to listen in. As he walked through the door, their conversation went as follows. "Did our Joe take Tosh to the vets?" "Yes, she did, poor little fella. 2 bus trips and all that heat." "So is it a growth then?" "Yep, sure is." "Is the vet going to take it off then?" "Yes, he is. And by the way, he's booked you in to remove yours next week." So anyway, I'd like to apologise, not to my dad, who hopefully learnt a little about animal anatomy from the whole experience. I mean, how slow was your dad? And not to the vet or the nurse either, as they probably dined out on that story for some time to come. However, I would like to apologise to poor Tosh, who was pretty hot in that bag, and I do feel pretty guilty about it. These were different times, as you rightly say, and fancy pet carriers hadn't been invented yet, although, to be honest, it can't have done him much harm in the long run, because he lived to the ripe old age of 10 years. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Love the show, just like Steve. Thanks and kind regards. That's from Joe, the canine psychologist, who couldn't tell the difference. Wasn't sure what was going on, but Dad wasn't particularly helpful. Anyway, Sister Bobby, what you got there?
Out of the mouths of babes, eh? I'm really, really surprised that her dad didn't have a conversation. At least if
That's
he was,
what dads are for, to be able to
know.
spot those kind of things. You would have thought.
No, you'd think. I think it's really unfair of your dad. Of course, I think actually, I'm just trying to think if it's fair to forgive your dad or not.
Do you think the dad knew and he was just having a laugh?
Well, sending her all the way to the vets. Well, maybe he didn't realise. I mean, they aren't. Well, anyway, I know a little bit about rabbits, but I can't remember. I'm going to pull out of this one.
Really? Yes, I think you
was
almost
just trying to think
certainly
because I did.
Hello.
Yeah. Listen, I've lost myself.
Do you need to stop?
Unforgiven.
Do you need to stop? Would you like to leave
because
the room now?
I was just thinking, surely it's obvious, but actually, when I think about it, maybe it's not. Okay. Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, now, Brother Matthew, what do you make of all this?
I don't know anything about rabbit anatomies, so we're going to leave that there. How has Joe's dad got this far in life by not realising what was going on there? I, though, think that this was Joe's dad doing it for devilment. I think he knew exactly what was going on. He thought this would be hilarious to have his daughter going to the vet and the vet pointing that out.
In which case, he's not a very nice dad, then.
Well, no, but he's a fun-loving and doting father. So for that reason, I am going to forgive Joe's dad. And Joe as well. Why not everyone?
Dear Father Simon and the extremely wonderful collective, and they smile and they look
Must be bad.
gracious. About 10 years ago, I was looking for Mr. Right. This is without a W, okay? This is just Mr. Right on various dating websites. Yes, it's another dating website confession. One which caught my eye was a gentleman. Let's call him Steve. It's from Valerie. Bobby, okay? It's Valerie.
I was trying not to let you see that.
No, it's when you peer over Nigel's shoulder, I kind of realised that. So 10 years ago, I was looking for Mr. Right on a dating website. One which caught my eye was a gentleman, we're going to call him Steve, who was about 2 years older than me and had similar interests and hobbies. His profile picture was of a good-looking man in a tuxedo, and we talked for a few weeks before deciding that it was time to meet up. Now, call me snobbish, but I had a bad habit back in the day of taking one minor affectation of somebody and ballooning it to a huge degree. Those days are long behind me, as you will find out. So we agreed to meet up at 7 p.m. in our local Italian restaurant, and I arrived a few minutes early, as I tend to do, and I sat at my table. After reading the menu briefly, I look up to see whether Steve has arrived, and suddenly in he walks. I don't say anything, but instead cover my face with the menu. "Valerie," a voice observes. I look up. It's Steve. "Oh, hello, how are you?" I say less than enthusiastically. "Yeah, I'm good," he replies. "You see, Father Simon, there's a problem. Steve has decided to turn up on a date in a tracksuit. Yes, kind of a shell suit, but mainly a tracksuit, matching jacket and bottoms." I start to probe. Nice. What is that you're wearing? "Oh, yeah, sorry, I went, what?"
Go on,
Ray Winston. It was Ray Winston coming
I went from the gym straight to here. "You didn't bring a change of clothes then?" I say. "No, sorry, I must have forgot." Needless to say, the rest of the night didn't work out very well, which is a shame because he seemed like a charming, funny guy online, and we went our separate ways. Who turns up for a date in a tracksuit, Father Simon? I mean. Fast forward to 5 years later. I'm still single. I go out on a date night with a bunch of girlfriends to a different Italian restaurant. After several glasses of Prosecco, I start to eye up a few lads who are sitting around us. In particular, there was a large group all wearing the same blazer from a golf club, I think. Anyway, after inspecting a few of them, I see one of the guys I like the look of. Unfortunately, his back is towards me, but he did have a very good-looking back.
Oh, yeah.
And then she says, "Am I the only one who ever notices this?"
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I would have thought so. If you can't see someone's face, I mean, I suppose you get a general angle on them where you can check out their physique or something, but if you can't really tell from someone's
Well,
back.
some people do like different parts of anatomy, but she's obviously...
Anyway, I'll just fade you out there. So, at this point, some of the girls I'm with start to take note. "What are you looking at?" screams Joan. "Those lads?" Anyway, she was from Monty Python. Yeah. Well, since I was on glass 4 of Prosecco at this point, I said something a tad strange. She said, "I like the look of him." And I pointed towards the aforementioned lad with the promising and nicely shaped back. "Oh, come on." "All right," says Stacey, £10 if you go and flirt with him." I was certainly keen. "Fine," I slur. Before I could get to my feet, he suddenly stands up. That's a bit strange, I think. However, what caught my eye were his trousers. White with stripes down the side. "Oh, that is strange," I repeat in my mind. Then he takes off his blazer and throws it at one of the guys, revealing a matching top and bottom. Yes, it's a matching tracksuit and bottom. The moment of realization, this was Steve. Why was he wearing a formal suit jacket over a tracksuit? I mean, what is wrong with this guy? Anyway, he then turns round. You know this guy with the nice back? We connect. Our eyes meet, and I smile. The man always labelled as a scruff was in fact a popular, sophisticated golf professional. And instantly, I was in love. Anyway, over the course of the night, we got... Why are you looking puzzled, man?
Why is he wearing tracky bottoms?
Well, I don't know.
Right.
Anyway,
that's why I'm confused.
over the course of the night, we get chatting, and another 5 years later, or 3 weeks ago, to be precise, we got married. Father Simon, I would like to seek the forgiveness from my now husband, Steve, for basing my judgment on him on the clothes that he wore, and for teaching me a valuable lesson not to judge a book by its dust jacket or even shell suit trousers. Mind you, you have to say, I would think most people would think if you turn up on your first date and you're really trying to impress someone, wearing a tracksuit, unless you're David Beckham, is not really a very good idea. That's all I'm saying. What do you think, Sister Bobby?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but like she said, you know, he taught her a valuable lesson. I think this is really, really easy to forgive. But the thing is, you drunk, what's it,
4 glasses of Prosecco.
Dragons of Prosecco.
So you just have to watch out that you don't have your bubbly glasses on, because you might make a real wrong assessment there. So what I can say in this thing is never judge anyone. You could get it wrong, but I have to say is I could do the same and get it wrong. But I'm a bit, you know, if someone turned up at a restaurant with a tracksuit with me on, Yeah, it's probably a no-goer.
Yeah, I don't think that's a very good idea. Anyway, Nigel, you're always impeccably dressed.
I love the way Nigel dresses.
It's certainly bohemian.
Bobby.
Yes.
Yes, cheap. There's another word for it. Well, obviously, Valerie is... she's a back girl, we know that. She loves backs. And anyone who arrives early for dinners, that worries me a little bit as well.
Why would that worry you?
Well, because, I mean, I don't know. I don't really trust anyone who's
Well, you
arrived
certainly don't
early
ever
for things.
arrive
No,
early
no,
yourself,
I know.
so that's...
No, I mean, you don't sit down. You go over somewhere else. But to arrive, actually sit down early, I don't know.
This explains a lot, doesn't it?
That does worry me. But also the fact that Steve Wright, as he was Mr. Wright, didn't explain at the first date, but he was a golf pro. So how in all the conversation...
Even if you're a golf professional, just...
Why didn't it
Change.
come up? Why didn't it come up in the conversation to say, but, he was in a tracksuit because he said, I came straight from work because I'm a golf pro. That made more sense. Anyway, I hope they do have lots of little golf clubs between them and they're very happy. But Valerie, you got it wrong and on a couple of occasions, but I hope you get it right in the future, but you're not forgiven, no.
Well, look, we've had lots of golf clubs. That would be an interesting thing. Anyway, what do you say
Yes,
there, Matthew?
I know quite a few golf professionals, and I don't know any of them that dress in tracksuit all the time.
No.
It's just ridiculous. So I'm not buying this, Steve, with you. I've got to wear my tracky bottoms all the time because I'm a golf pro, and also far be it from me to pass judgment on anyone in a sartorial sense. But you had better be phenomenally good looking if you're going to be wearing tracky bottoms and tracky top all the time.
And a suit
You had
over the
better-
top.
Oh, yeah, you had better be knocking it out the park. And I don't think you were, Steve, despite having a very good-looking back. So I am going to forgive.
You can't judge someone on a back. Well, they were this week's confessions. Fewer in number because I was off on Wednesday. Important family affairs and all that. Anyway, let us know your own shadowy secret because it may well be that something was sparked deep in your soul. Confessions at bbc.co.uk. More in a week. All our shows are on the iPlayer from the last 30 days. Monday's book club was The Memory Stones by Caroline Brothers. She was in to talk about that. We had a Tuneful Tunes Day on Tuesday. Mark Goodyear was chatting to Shane Filan about his new solo tour. And on Thursday, Foodie Thursday, Nigel served up clementine cake. The details can be found on the Radio 2 website. Good luck looking for them. Anyway, just head for the Thursday's episode page, toggle down until you hit the recipe. It sounds very straightforward until you actually do it.